Spanish, and she went to Central America and fell in love with the region. And it was then returning from that adult gap year that she didn't want to go into the corporate world, which was the catalyst setting up Mercator Travel. Mm-hmm. And our core brand and the main part of our business actually is called Central America Revealed and South America Revealed. And we have a whole series of individual country websites. So our kind of focus and specialty, and probably 60% of our business is focused in Latin America, either in Central or South America, either multi-country tours or single-country tours. Mm-hmm. But having taken that expertise of tailor-made travel and the focus of the company, we get repeat clients who say, oh, that was a great job in Costa Rica you did last year. Don't suppose you did do Laos, Vietnam and Cambodia, do you? And the answer to that is yes. And so we've really got three core destinations. There's the Latin American ones, there's the Southeast Asian ones, and then we've also got Africa, where we would do South Africa, Botswana, and Libya, Malawi, Zambia, or East Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, or Ethiopia. So it's basically in Latin and South America, it's places like Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Brazil, Peru, and so on. We've been talking about Southeast Asia today, and that's what the discussion has been around. Mm-hmm. And so it's really long-haul destinations which offer something beyond just the beach, but may well give you R&R at the end of it. So you combine your touring and then end up on the beach. And we can pretty much do that on a global basis. So, we do, Australia, New Zealand, we may do US and Canada, but it tends to be more of the developing third world countries that perhaps got a so-called exotica around.
If you used to have a month off, where would you go?
Well, the joy of my job sitting at my desk is that we never sell the same trip twice. So we're always learn. We learn off our clients who come back. We try and build new tours, new excursions all the time, and new hotels added here, and new destination. And the truth of the matter is that it's the second best thing to going there yourself is designing these trips for other people. And I always want to go on the trips, but there's probably two answers to your question as to where, if I had a month off, where would I go? One would be perhaps globally, which I'm going to talk about first, and then I'll come back to Southeast Asia. On a global front, funnily, because we're selling all of these third world countries and we're visiting a lot of the destinations we sell all the time, to some extent it could potentially be a bit of a busman's holiday for me to go and do what my clients do. Yep. So as much as I love doing that, I'd probably really change. And the holiday that I've got in mind for me on a personal front next time is to go to the southern US states, Nashville, Tennessee, Louisiana. I'm a big fan of blues and jazz music, so the idea of going to Sun Records, going to see Elvis Presley's place, then going down the Blues Delta, going to New Orleans, and that whole mix of Southern American food, and combining that with Memphis and Nashville and the country scene. So a musical holiday with food, touring, that would be my choice, ending up in the French Quarter in New Orleans. But bringing that back to Southeast Asia, what would I do? I think probably if I had a month, I'd kick off with Vietnam and do a Sapa trek, do a side trip to Laos and cover some of the things we were talking about on the front end of this interview, and then go back to Vietnam to a place called Star Beach in Phu Quoc, which is one of the islands. But it's one of the less visited beaches, and I would chill there. So I would combine and I'm a foodie, I'm a big foodie, so, and I'm a people person, so I'm very interested in the culture. So Sapa trek in the hill tribes of Vietnam, side trip to the lesser visited places in Laos, and then go to that beach before I came back.
You're going to have to take 2 months off, aren't you, to get all that in?
Yeah.
So how can we find out more about Mercator Travel and your holidays? Yeah,
for anybody interested, our core mother site is www.Mercator Travel. That's all one word, MERCATOR, mercatortravel.co.uk. You can follow us on Twitter at Revealed Travel or on Facebook, or you can email us on info@mercatortravel.co.uk. Our telephone numbers on the website. Gerardus Mercator was a Belgian map maker. He was in the 16th century, and he was a great navigator. And his job in those days, you opened any school atlas to the orange peel shaped flattened map of the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Mercator map. He was responsible for the first globes. His job was to make travel easy or easier for seafarers, and we basically have tried to bring a modern twist on that and say our job is to make travel and navigation easier for today's traveller. So that's why we were named Mercator Travel. And from the mother site, Mercator Travel, you can then jump off to some of the individual country sites and reveal websites.
And now, travel news. Recently I've been talking about visas to Turkey, to India and to Egypt, and another country is going to make things a little bit more complicated to get into, and that's Canada, because Canada's going to introduce a travel authorisation fee from 2016. The fee's not great, it's only $7 Canadian, and it's going to be coming into place with the introduction of an electronic approval system to enter the country. Called an ETA, Electronic Travel Authorisation. It's going to be mandatory from March the 15th next year and will be valid for 5 years. Under the ETA programme, citizens from countries other than the United States who do not need a visa to enter Canada will still need to obtain an online authorisation before flying to Canada, unless they're otherwise exempted. And though it's not mandatory until March the 15th next year, from the 1st of August this year, eligible travellers can have the opportunity to give it a go and apply online and get it. And if you're a regular traveller, get it now. It lasts for 5 years. It could be a good thing rather than waiting until the last minute. It was actually introduced by the Department of Citizenship and Immigration Canada. But again, it's going to be another bit of slight complication. With so many people now booking their own trips, doing everything independently, will they know about this? I'm not so sure. They could be turned up at an airport to fly to Canada and be refused boarding because they don't have the form. As yet, I'm not sure how far in advance you have to apply for it, but it's something to be aware of if you're looking at going to Canada. Something else that the DIY traveller is going to need to look out for, and that's the change to using hire cars. The DVLA have made a change. And instead of taking a paper bit of your driving licence with you to prove you have no speeding fines or to prove how many you have, you now have to get a code, which you get from the website. And this is going to be from the 8th of June. So if you want to hire a car from the 8th of June, you need to log on to the DVLA website in advance to get a code to prove to your hire car company when you collect the car what state your licence is in. Now this code is only valid for 72 hours, so if you're flying somewhere and you're not going to be picking up the hire car for 4 or 5 days or even longer, then you're going to have to find yourself a computer to find out the codes before you get the hire car, which could be a problem in some destinations. But never mind, the DVLA is saying that if you can't get to a computer, you can still ring up and get the code over the phone, which is going to be a nice little expense for somebody if they've not got it all sorted. And the RAC, one of the many organisations, has said that nobody's aware of this. In fact, quite a few travel agents weren't aware of it either until it came up on the BBC News. And the AA are saying that you shouldn't throw the paper copy of your licence away, you should keep it, even though the DVLA is saying that from the 8th of June it's no longer necessary. But who knows with government computerisation. So to review a record of your convictions, the motorists log on to the View My Driving Licence page of the website, DVL website, and with your driving licence number and your national insurance number and your postcode, you can find out what the code is in the state of a licence. Unless, of course, you move to Northern Ireland quickly, because that's not going to be happening over there just yet. So if you don't want the grief, go to Northern Ireland. But then how is the car hire company in Spain going to know the difference between somebody living in England and Northern Ireland? We shall see. So I'm looking forward to the news on the 8th of June to see how well this is going to go. Just to remind you, paper licences, part of your licence, are going to be dead from the 8th of June. If you want to hire a car, you need a code which lasts for 72 hours before you can be able to take the car away. It can only go well, can't it? So, which country do you need to take cash with you when you go? Did you guess what it was? You probably did. It's Greece. So travellers to Greece have been advised to take euros in notes and coins, just in case the debt crisis prompts the country's banks to switch off their cash machines. The country's tourist board in London has said that while it anticipated no immediate problems, visitors should be prepared just in case and not relied solely on cards or ATMs. This is according to a story in the Daily Telegraph. What's recommended by the Foreign Commonwealth Office is you should take enough money to cover emergencies and for any unexpected delays. Other travel experts are saying you should take around 3 to 5 days of spending money with you, as well as your debit and credit cards. This is all down to the fact that the country might be denied emergency funds to cover its summer debt repayments. Or maybe Greece could opt to exit the euro. So what do you do if you take loads of euros with you? Don't know yet. It's a little bit... I'm sure it'll be fine. And then the Greek National Tourist Organisation said that they don't anticipate any problems with the banking system in Greece, which is very much business as usual. The Greek economy has edged closer to default earlier in the week when the European finance ministers ruled out on a big bailout similar to the ones taken in 2010 and 2012. So, going to Greece, take cash. Hope they don't come out of the euro because you might have a load of worthless euros. But just keep an eye on whichever country you're visiting up until your date of departure, just in case something changes. I know somebody had a nice holiday and then just at the last minute the visa requirements changed. So always keep an eye, not just because you're going to Greece, but to any country. Many times during my show over the last few years, I've said you should have good travel insurance when you travel. By good, I don't mean the cheapest you can possibly get. I mean the one which suits your requirements. Check the policy, make sure you're covered. Don't buy it until you're sure that you're covered for everything. Why is it important? Well, a Canadian tourist who caused the accidental death of a Chinese woman at the Great Wall of China has had to agree to pay the victim's family almost $100,000 in compensation. Would your cheap travel insurance cover that? I don't know. So perhaps you should check your policy in case you have an accident and kill someone. The Chinese woman, whose name I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce, struck her head after being knocked over by a Canadian tourist, Deborah Fortin. The old lady fell down some steps on the 8th of April and died shortly afterwards in front of her family, according to a local police report. The local police did actually decide that the incident was a tragic accident and didn't press charges against the Canadian, but the old lady's family filed a lawsuit against her and demanded that she be prevented from leaving the country. The Beijing News reported that a deal had been struck between both parties during 2 days of pre-trial mediation in Beijing. The settlement was 600,000 yuan, which is $96,000 apparently, and it was to be paid within 15 days. So hopefully her travel insurance will pay that. So once again, whenever you travel, make sure you've got great travel insurance. Well, that's the end of another travel show. I hope the information that Jeremy Snelling from Mercator Travel shared about the Far East has encouraged you to go and pay a visit to the various countries out there. If you have been, share your pictures at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show and any tips you have about visiting any of the countries. Any country you want featured, use the same Facebook page to let me know. And I do hope you can join me next time on the Travel Show with John Guinn on setclosesounds.org, where each week I'm checking it out before you check it.
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture and much more to 84,000 people every month. Plus news, views and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.